Hi everyone, this is a slightly different video from many of my other videos. As a blacksmith, it is very common to start by making your own tools. Even when just making swords or knives, some tools such as good tongs are essential. In this video, I will show you how to make tongs using only very simple tools. In fact, you don't even need your own tongs yet. I'm starting with 3/4 by 1/2 inch mild steel, which I cut into two 16-inch long pieces. This is extra long, but means that I can hold onto the steel without requiring any tongs. When making tongs, there are three essential parts to consider: the jaws, a place to pivot, and the reins to hold the tongs. At the moment, I'm working on the simple part of jaws where I do not need to create a box. The edge of the anvil is used to isolate the mass for the steel. As a right-handed person, I rotate the steel to the left and now start to define where the boss is going to be. The boss is where I create the pivot point for the tongs. Once the boss has been isolated, I forged it down from 3/4 inch thick steel to about 1/2 inch thick. It's time to refine the shape. Forging these tongs will require only minimal tools, but it does require some blacksmithing skills. I'm definitely not the best at that. You should check out Mark Asbury instead. While you have seen me use a hammer and anvil so far, making these tongs will also require a hot chisel, a hole punch, and some kind of set hammer. Now we come to the part where a lot of hammering is required to draw out the reins. I will not show all of it, but will give you a sense on how the horn of the anvil can help. If you watch closely, you will see how some of my hammer blows are not supported by the horn, and that in turn leads to twisting of the steel. That's okay, I will take care of it. After a lot of hammering, I have drawn out the reins so that they are long enough. Now I can cut off the excess steel at the end and continue tapering the reins. Since we assume there are no tongs available, the hot steel just falls to the ground to cool off. Clearly, this is a lot of hammering, but slowly and persistently the reins are getting thinner and longer. Soon I can chamfer them so that they are comfortable to hold in my hands. To chamfer, I forge the edges of the bar and remove the sharp corner. One part of the tongs is almost done. I just need to punch a hole for the rivet so that the jaws can pivot against each other and hold hot steel. Punching a hole into hot steel is quite interesting. Unlike drilling, almost no material is lost. Instead, the steel just moves out of the way of the hole punch. My hole punch has seen quite some abuse and has probably lost most of its hardness. That's why it's getting stuck. I upset it while punching the hole. That's it, one part done. Let's start the jaw with the box. I am isolating a little bit more steel because I need extra material to spread out the flaps for the box jaw. You see me isolating the actual box on the far side of the anvil. Apart from that, the procedure is just like before. Rotating to the left, defining the jaw, and starting to forge the boss. The steel is a little bit too cold now, but I can start to define the transition. As before, I'm rotating to the left again and isolate the boss at a 30-degree angle or so. Where I work on the anvil depends a little bit on the rounding of its edge. Some are much sharper than others. For the sake of time, I'm not showing you the labor-intensive process of drawing out the reins, but I'll show you where I'm cutting them off again. Sometimes I'm placing a piece of copper underneath the steel to be cut to protect the hot chisel and anvil. In this case, I'm completing the cut at the far edge of the anvil. As with the other side, the boss needs a hole where the jaws are going to pivot against each other. The hole punch makes this quite easy. In this case, it actually got stuck in the steel, and you can see how upset it became. I probably need to redo the heat treat. The final step for this jaw is to forge the box. I start by spreading out the steel I had isolated earlier. A handheld fuller helps me to isolate the flaps on each side, which need to be further spread out. The London pattern anvil, which I inherited from John West, It's a step that makes forging in the 90-degree bend much easier. Ordinarily, I would do this on a leg vise. I also decided to forge tongs that can hold a broader piece of steel. In this case, the tongs will be for 3/4 inch by 1/2 inch steel bar, which is what we started these tongs with. Once the box jaw has been semi-adjusted, it's time to make a rivet to connect the pieces. However, when comparing the jaws, I noticed that the simple jaw was not quite long and broad enough, so it will get a little bit more attention. For the rivet, I found a round bar in my cutters, for which I'm now quickly forging ahead, and then reduce the dimension to fit through the punched hole. Rather than using a header, I'm defining the head just using the tongs, which is working out alright. As the rivet is much too long at the moment, I need to cut it off. I can do this cold without any problems. This is basically all there is to it. The last part is to adjust the jaws to the size of steel I want to hold with them. I'm using the hole punch here to hold the reins apart, so that I can apply more pressure when using them. Moving the reins while cooling the tongs in water helps with loosening them up a bit. That's all there is to it. Making these tongs does not really require a lot of tools. If you are interested in getting into blacksmithing, the book Fundamentals of Blacksmithing by Mark Asbury shows how to make these tongs as well as all the tools you need for them. I would highly recommend it. There's a link in the description. One of the things you saw in this video was me showing some visualizations of pattern welding that I have worked on over the last couple of years with the computer. And I liked the pictures quite a bit, so I ended up putting them on a t-shirt that you see me wearing here. If you like those, welcome to follow the links in the description and order yourself a t-shirt. Otherwise, be on the lookout for a video that explains pattern welding in a lot of graphical detail for those of you who may struggle to see how these patterns come together just by watching my videos. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like the graphics. And if you like them a lot, go get yourself one of these t-shirts. And I will see you in another video very soon. Thanks to everyone on Patreon. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.